This is Channel 9 Perth.
Our Dinella studios here have seen many changes over the years and been Channel 9's home since we started broadcasting here back in June of 1965. Of course, black and white it was back then, but then as the technology improved, in came colour TV, and with it, iconic productions like Appeal-a-thon, The Wonder of Western Australia, Flapper the Elephant hit our screens too. One of the classic kids shows. Another show was Perth's Young Entertainers, and one of the hosts was Louise Anton Miller. Louise Anton back then. Good morning to you,
yes,
Louise. How
I know.
are you?
Actually, I think I was Antinous. I've kind of had a few different name changes.
Trimmed and added to over the years.
I have. I don't know what's going on. Multi-personality.
You've been entertaining people now for a little while. A few decades.
Actually, I thought you were going to say like a magic number then, like a 30
I don't have that
years or
magic
something.
number. I don't want to give your age away.
Yeah, okay. No,
Louise, but is this where it all began for you?
It is, Tim, yeah. I actually first appeared on Perth's Young Entertainers as a contestant.
Wow.
And so I was taken under the wing of, you spoke with Jenny Woodland,
Yes.
Jen Woodland, Jenny Dunstan earlier.
Yep.
And so I was taken under the wing of
There you are.
Keith.
Great hair, by the way.
Yeah, and then I was offered the job in 1985 to take over from Jenny and Chris as host of the show. And they were just amazing days. And, well, apart from the hair and
Have you still got that jacket?
Yeah, wasn't that gorgeous? And the shoulder pads. Brilliant. Oh, gosh.
Amazing.
Look at that. Oh, my gosh. I haven't seen that.
There
It's
you
amazing.
go. We're watching the memory bank being jogged as we speak. Look at that, strolling along the beach.
Yeah, they were just incredible days, and we had just such fantastic local production that we did then, and I'm really happy to say that it's coming back now, isn't it?
Yeah,
We're doing a lot of
it's
things
great.
here at Channel 9,
Yeah,
which
it's
is great.
having a resurgence here at 9.
Yeah, it's great.
Some of the challenges, the highlights, working on that show back in the day?
I definitely remember one of the huge challenges for me was taking on the role of host, but also no auto cue. So it was all done with cards. We had a live television audience and it was live to air, but it was all on cue cards and big boards, you know, at the other side of the camera with, you know, everything written. So that was a big challenge for me. And but one of the highlights, definitely, I was here in the days of the Bondy days, you see.
Fantastic.
And I interviewed Alan Bond, and then I was, you know, on board his boat for the America's Cup when he hosted the America's Cup and brought it to Perth. They were just fantastic days and very buoyant in television. It was really great, yeah.
I do wish I was around in the 80s. I feel like I missed out.
Where were you?
I was around.
Oh, were you? Oh, good. Thank goodness for that.
Very, very young primary school days for me. Seen some great TV come out of these studios here, though, over the last 50 years. It must be nice to have been a big part of that.
Yeah, it was fantastic to be a part of that, and all of the Appeal-a-thon shows and all the fantastic personalities that you got to work with in those days, and people that came over from the eastern states, Ricky May and the Daryl Summers and Molly Meldrum and Daryl Braithwaite. And I was just looking back through a scrapbook of things that I've got at home, and it's quite incredible, actually. Yeah.
Louise Anton Miller, thanks for coming in this morning.
Thank you so much, Tim.
We'll see you in another 50 years.
Great to see you. Oh, yeah, good. Okay.
One of the icons, of course, was Flapper.
Come along with us, sing along with us, on a visit we shall see all the wonderful things that we can find in Flapper's factory. Laugh with us and play with us, see who we can meet. Listen to the stories we tell in Flapper's factory.
I remember Flapper, hosted by Chris Woodland and Jenny Dunstan. Jenny joins us this morning. Good morning to you, Jenny. Great to see you.
Good morning, Tim. Great to be back here. Nothing's changed. It feels like just 2 weeks ago I left.
Hopefully a couple of things changed. The floor manager this morning's got a little bit less hair. How does it feel, though, being back here and seeing all this old footage again? It must jog the memory back.
Oh, it does, and it brings back so many great memories, because we were at what we like to consider the golden age of TV, because there was so much production going on. Right back then there was the C classification, so it was the moratorium derived from that, and with the moratorium we had 1 hour of local TV that had to be there, so local content was a must. So with that moratorium the production just went through the roof, and we had so many things, and here's a bit of Flapper.
Flapper. I don't know how many people lately I've mentioned Flapper to and just got nothing. And now the evidence, there he is Flapper. Your standout moments during your years here at Channel 9, Jenny?
Look, there are quite a few. I think every day was such a joy. I think what was really interesting, Tim, back then is I was really grateful for the whole opportunity and the experience, because we had such a blast, and there was a great group of people. Keith Woodland, Chris Woodland, Mike Callaghan made up the Young People's Program Department, which we ran for many years, almost a decade there at here at Channel 9. In the Sea Shed, productions galore, and we had Clash of the Creatures, which was a D&D game show. We were playing D&D back then. And
very progressive.
Very progressive. But of course, you've got to remember, back in those days, there was no internet, no telephones or anything like that. So TV 7 and 9.
TV was it.
That was it, yeah.
Yep.
So we're in production all the time, so it was very exciting times for all of us. We did Clash of the Creatures, we did Percy Young Entertainers, which was absolutely fabulous. And that, again, what we found with all our programming is that we were allowing viewers to come back into the TV station, which was really nice, and be part of the TV show.
Oh, a lot of people reminiscing as we speak, I'm sure.
Yes, actually, there's been a journo who was actually on Clash of the Creatures walking around here, and she was actually in the team in the evil side.
Yeah.
And we've had a number of people in their 30s and 40s. If you're out there, you know who you are. Who were in those programs, and we had such a blast.
There would have been a lot.
Yeah.
Humphrey B. Bear, talk of a comeback for Humphrey of late. What about Flapper? Surely Flapper can make a comeback.
You think?
I reckon.
Yeah, I reckon.
Definitely, the
maybe
time's
some
right.
more community
Because a lot of the
shows.
people that would have grown up with Flapper are probably now parents.
Yes,
They
exactly.
can introduce Flapper to their own.
Sounds like a good idea. We'll go back to the drawing board.
Where's Flapper been all this time?
Oh, look, I don't know. I think he's been in a bit of an extended holiday. Well, we've been busy working.
Yeah. Well, Jenny, great to see you again. Thanks for coming in. Joining us now is another piece of Channel 9 history. Gary Shannon. Gary, good morning to you.
Good morning, Tim, and happy birthday, Channel 9.
Yeah, well, look, it's not
50
my
years.
birthday.
Yeah, big part of my life.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that. You were the first person to have a colour TV show here on Channel 9.
Yeah.
That a few people will remember. I'm sure the Super Flying Fun Show.
The Super Flying Fun Show, featuring Gary and Dunderclumpin, and we you had the best cartoons that the world had presented up until that time, and we had a lot of fun doing the Super Flying Fun Show. I still get called Dunderclumpin today, but I say, no, I was Gary. Dunderclumpin.
Look at that.
There it is. Yeah.
Look at that hair. That's magnificent.
Yeah, I'd like it today. Can I get some of that back? But Dunderclumpin, he was a Swedish cartoon character, and in Swedish, Dunderclumpin means potato head. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Your biggest moment? Can you isolate one?
Too many highlights. Probably the fun we had at all those appeal-a-thon parties.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Just so many highlights, really, Tim. Let me see. There was a lot of programs I did out here. We did Clap Aboard, which was very successful. That was a music program. Yep. I did a show called Dimensions with Helen O'Grady, with a teenage show. And, of course, the Summer Girls.
I got dragged along to one of her drama schools as a kid.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
It worked.
I ran home.
She was a bit scary. But, so many highlights, mate. Channel 9 Perth. I think, we forget that back in those days, local television, a lot of local programs, and it was the main source of entertainment for people here in Western Australia. It was great.
I suppose doing the sorts of shows that you had to do, you have to have a bit of a laugh sometimes at your own expense, but were there any moments of genuine embarrassment for you?
Oh, just the majority of the 30 years, really. Lots of. We did live television, and you mentioned the Super Flying Fun Show. One of the big highlights was we were the very first program, 4 o'clock one afternoon. I can't remember the date. The year was 1975, and everybody in the whole station was very excited because it was the launch of Colour, and we were chosen to launch it at 4 o'clock on that particular afternoon. So I can remember they dressed me up in purple flares and floral shirts and as much colour as you could possibly get, but it was a huge event. It sounds a bit silly these days, I guess, but there it is.
That's Dunderclumpin.
That's Dunderclumpin. The one I kicked his head off. That was an amazing moment because we had people ringing up and saying the kids have gone berserk because Gary's kicked Dunderclumpin's head off, and that was live television
for them.
Yeah,
at its finest.
I haven't seen that for years. Yeah, so that was a very funny moment. Yeah,
another little moment to remember and to dig up here. The Summer Girl competition.
Right.
You wouldn't get away with that stuff now, would you?
Well, apparently not. I'm glad they did back in the 80s, though, because it was a lot of fun. And
good time to be around for you.
Yeah. You know, my mates used to say, you've got the best job in the world, you're doing Summer Girl with Channel 9. I said, well, the heats were a quite difficult thing because, as you can see, a summer competition and 40 degrees heat along the beaches of Perth. And, you know, you're talking to 38 contestants in 40-degree heat, and all of them they ride horses and want to save the world. You've got to make it entertaining, you know. So it wasn't all that easy. It was probably a tough gig, actually.
Oh, sounds awful.
Yeah. Somebody had to do it.
Well, good on you for doing it, Gary.
Yep.
Plenty more memories to come. Thanks for coming in this morning.
Thanks for having us, Tim.
And I'm sure you'll be sitting down there glued to it, reminiscing about the old days. Joining me to help take a stroll down memory lane with us, we've got media historian John Cranfield. John, good morning to you.
Morning, Tim.
50 years. It seems like a long time.
Well,
and a lot's changed.
A lot has changed, but Channel 9, sorry. Well, I was going to say 7 was first, but 9 came along 6 years later.
Yes.
And just brought television to life here in Western Australia. Did a brilliant job.
What are some of the big changes that you've observed in 5 decades?
Well, live television was very good in the early days in black and white, but I think when colour television came in 1975, 9 really took it even further and just had a lot more zilth about it. It was just an excellent thing.
Some of the big moments, the big memories for you?
Well, I think in the very early days, again, the live television shows with Peter Dean, people like Peter Harries, Alan Graham, who you just mentioned, and Peter Pacini, Veronica Overton, they were all big names here in Perth back in the 1960s. And then when colour television came, and I think when Alan Bond became the owner of Channel 9 here in Perth, there was plenty of money around for all sorts of wonderful events.
For a short time.
For a short time, yes. There were some great stories. When Skylab came down in Western Australia, Channel 9 Perth became very world famous.
Is that right?
Yeah, because it was the only channel that managed to get pictures of the actual Skylab flying through Perth.
Wow.
And landing down in Esperance.
That was a big moment, wasn't it?
Indeed it was, yeah. And other ones, of course, were the Man on the Moon. I know that was going back a bit in the black and white days, but that was a very exciting time as well for Channel 9.
As people would probably be aware, there's a cluster of stations here in Dianella. One of our neighbours has already gone. We're going to be next. It feels like the end of an era for television here in Dianella.
Well, it certainly will be the end of an era here in Dianella, but I think if you take the old programs with you that bring back so many memories, which is fantastic the way Channel 9 has stored things over the years and has still got them, and I think it'd be fabulous having it in the city where people can actually see it. If you can walk past St George's Terrace, I understand, be able to walk past and see programs being made. Yeah,
it should be good. We're excited about it.
Yeah.
The next 50 years, John?
Well, I think it's got a great future, television. Of course, no one knows really what's going to happen, but it's part of people's lives now. As radio is, television will... People always go when they know something's happening, they'll go and turn on the television.
We are celebrating our 50th birthday, so we've had to dig around in the archives, pulled out some of the old home videos, and we'll be reminiscing about the last half a century of news and entertainment here in Perth, taking a step back into the 60s, the 70s, names like Ann Conti, Peter Waltham, Greg Pearce brought us the news and the weather. The cameras were heavy, the studios full of live and local programs that eventually transformed from grainy black and white into colour. And now the high definition you're currently watching.
Celebrating 50 years, this is Channel 9 Perth.